Good evening. Welcome back from, I'm sure, your much needed week of rest and relaxation. Let's call this meeting to order. The time is 5:31 p.m. Roll call, Mr. Bailey. Here. Mrs. Dean. Here. Mrs. Johnson is not here. Mrs. Martin. Present. Ms. Miller is going to be absent tonight. Mr. Osowski? Here. Chair is here. Mr. Barajas? Here. All right. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. In that corner, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Moving on to President's remarks. As per usual, please place all cell phones on silent. And I do have a few remarks, and because I value people's time, I don't often speak at the start of a meeting. But I feel compelled, and you know if I feel compelled, I'm going to speak from my heart. And a lot of times I type my remarks out, and I kind of have them, and I really am going to speak from my heart tonight. And I'm going to start with quoting the words of our interim superintendent. We must do better. Recently, we became aware of some perceptions regarding this board, and honestly, they were eye-opening and honest and somewhat hard to hear. We, the board, set the tone. People are watching us. Our students, you all, our community, every single person involved in the school district is watching us. And we set the tone. And we don't always do such a great job of that. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of not being respectful, not acting with dignity and grace. And my commitment to you is to do better, because we set the tone, and our children are watching us. It came to my attention that sometimes members of this community, members of this staff, members of our students don't feel that this board fully supports them. That breaks my heart, and I think it probably breaks the heart. That's not the perception we want you to have. I think I can safely say that no one at this table wants you to believe that. But I can see where our actions in the past have possibly led you to believe that. And so I promise you, as long as I sit in this seat, to do better. Perception is often people's truth, right? I mean, we all know. They don't know us. They don't know our hearts. You don't know us personally. You don't know why we're here. My own feelings, I've admitted them more than once, my own failings. I've lost my temper. I have raised my voice, and I have not acted respectfully sometimes. And that's not what I want people to see when they look at Redford Union School Board. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have led this board in that manner sometimes. The last thing I want to say about that, I'm going to just kind of move on, is about with the we must do better and the perceptions. This community lost a young person, tragically, recently. And a member of this board took an action that honestly was tacky, but more importantly, doesn't make us look good. It does not make us look good as a district. It does not make us look good as a board. I can only apologize on behalf of the board members that I know that bothers for that action to be taken. And I will say this again, we must do better. And I will end with, if we don't do better, if we find ourselves in a position where we're absolutely frustrated, in the words of Mike Humans, we need to take the high road. Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda of the April 7th, 2026 regular meeting as presented?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Osowski, seconded by Mrs. Martin. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries 6-0. Call to the audience, public participation regarding agenda items.
None.
All right, here, there are none. Yay! Presentations. Is that where we're at? Yeah. Wow, we're moving along. HIV curriculum approval. Chris Norton, coordinator of teaching and learning, and jack of all trades.
Do you hear that, Chris? We're moving along.
I told him I would try to not make it too long.
You have Nurse Jerry with me today.
Hi. You know me, I'm pushy. I went and introduced myself. Welcome. We promise not to be mean to you. Well, okay. Especially after I made a big speech about being respectful. We are doing better. That's fine. I promise I won't make you cry. We're doing it. All right.
We okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this presentation is about the HIV instruction requirements and curriculum alignment. Purpose of this presentation is to provide the board with a comprehensive review of our district's HIV instructional program. And by doing that, we're going to go over how we clarify legal obligations, focusing on HIV content only. We're going to explain some of the legal framework that we have to adhere to and how we're going to take care of that. And then we're going to demonstrate some alignment this afternoon as well, because there are some new new health curriculum standards that were adopted by the state of Michigan. Those were back in November. Some scope clarification, just a reminder, this is only about HIV and communicable diseases. We're going to be talking about public health literacy requirements and then some legal compliance framework. We are not talking about sexual education. We're not talking about contraception instruction, pregnancy education, reproductive health curriculum. Those items would be at a future board meeting. It is more important that we get this requirement out. Plus, there will be some clarification that we need from the school board, which is reserved for the last slide, assuming that this HIV curriculum is adopted, that will frame the discussion in our first sexual education advisory board meeting. Okay. All right. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Okay. So Michigan legal requirement, core law. Michigan law requires all public schools to provide instruction on dangerous communicable diseases, including HIV and AIDS. This is not optional. Every district has to comply. So this is different from when we talked about sex education in previous meetings. Those are options. These are not. So the plan normally is that they would be introduced to it in the elementary level, the middle, junior high level, and the high school. Now, while you have this obligation, the districts do have flexibility in how they do that. You have control over what lessons are taught, which curriculum is adopted, so that's part of this today. Correct me if I'm mistaken, were you provided the lessons in advance to preview? If not, I can make those adjustments after today.
I think you've all received them in other meetings, but we can send them out again. I know we've shared them out at different times.
Okay. So some required instructional elements. You have to cover the principal modes of transmission, methods of restriction and prevention. You have to provide medically accurate information, which is where I rely on Nurse Jerry. Okay. Age-appropriate instruction, emphasis on prevention. Now, age-appropriate instruction, all of the lessons that are under consideration were provided to the physical education teachers that would primarily be responsible for providing this instruction. They were given a review tool and provided their feedback on that. There was not a single person that participated in that felt that these lessons were inappropriate for their age level or found any concerns that they wanted to bring to the attention of anyone. Okay? Parent rights and transparency, you'll notice that if you were here for our sex ed talk a long time ago, a lot of these are the same. You have to give advance notification. Parents have the right to review this. They have the right to observe the lessons if they choose to do so. And they also have the right to excuse their students from the instruction with no penalty to their academic standing. HIV versus sex education, just to kind of go over real quick again what it is. Legally mandated for HIV, public health focus, you do not have to have a sexual ed advisory board, and parents' rights still apply. For sex education, that's the district discretion on whether you're going to do it or not. There's a broader scope because it includes reproduction, contraception, relationships, and sexuality. You do have to have a sex ed advisory board, and parent rights that were mentioned earlier apply the same in this situation as well. Some updated Michigan health standards, as I said earlier, those were adopted and passed back in November. They basically break them down into K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. Some of the key updates that are changes, they're stronger public health literacy, disease prevention focus, skills-based decision-making, medically accurate and appropriate. There are some new items in there as well, which we can discuss at the next the next meeting that might require some sex ed advice. Okay. Standard expectations for HIV instruction. Students are to understand transmission. They're to understand prevention strategies. We're to provide them with reliable information on how they can access and evaluate reliable information from credible sources about HIV. Stigma reduction, community health impact. So for stigma reduction, that would be, I would assume that would be reflecting on how individuals were treated who had HIV, say perhaps in the 80s, 90s, and around that time.
I grew up in
Yes.
Indiana during the Ryan White years.
Yeah, there's still a lot of false information that's out there.
Okay, for these lessons, the elementary should be taught in grade 5. There is one lesson. For middle school HIV sequence, there's a comprehensive unit covering HIV facts, transmission myths versus facts, evaluating exposures, and accessing reliable information and helpful resources. I want to say there were about 6 lessons.
Yes.
Okay. And high school HIV sequence, those are for grades 9 through 12. Those are advanced exploration of transmission, prevention, public health impact, testing awareness, and communication skills for health decision-making. And I believe those are about 11 lessons.
Yes.
Elementary alignment summary, basic covers compassion and stigma reduction, communicable disease concepts, age-appropriate framing, and caring and respect. They meet the elementary standards as they're discussed in grades 3 through 5, communicable disease, in the Michigan Health Education Framework, and it operates within the HIV instructional scope. The key takeaway for us is the elementary lesson successfully introduces HIV concepts through a lens of compassion and public health, meeting all legal and standards-based requirements while remaining age appropriate. Middle school and junior high alignment, clear transmission on how HIV spreads, does not spread, dispelling common myths, structured activities to distinguish factual information from misconceptions about HIV, a focus on prevention and safety focus, and accessing reliable information. Alignment findings is strong disease prevention alignment, public health lens maintained, and it also focuses on skill development with analyzing influences, information seeking, decision making, and self-management. Our high school alignment, curriculum strengths is in-depth exploration. Public health impact, talks about testing awareness, covers health literacy development, and focuses on advanced skills such as critical health analysis, resource evaluation, communication skills, advocacy and health promotion, complex decision-making. So essentially the ones that are from the junior high, middle school level with a few added on. A scope and boundary review. As part of our review, we also identified areas where high school materials touch topics that may appear in broader health curricula, including references to risk categorization, legal context, or pregnancy mentions with an HIV framework. We're presenting this transparently so the board understands how scope boundaries are managed. Essentially what it is anytime those topics come up, they will be referenced as only how they apply to HIV, not in sexual education framework. Those will be reserved for the sexual education curriculum that would be later approved by this board. Oh, and I just pretty much said that. So, sorry.
You knew where you were going.
Okay. Alignment to legal requirements, we do cover transmission and prevention. We do have medically accurate information. It's developmentally sequenced, does have meet building level requirements. We do provide for parent transparency. Teacher certification, we currently have two teachers in the district who have completed the HIV training certification that's required to teach the course. The remaining staff are scheduled for the last training of this school year, which takes place next month through Wayne Risa. It's an all-day. So we would have at least one staff member in each of our core buildings that can provide this instruction, meeting those requirements. Okay. Alignment to updated standards, again, these cover communicated disease literacy, prevention and protective behaviors, health information evaluation, empathy and stigma reduction, health resources and services, and skills-based learning. I also want to mention that this curriculum was the most highly recommended, and actually only recommended from Wayne Risa. So there are other options out there, but in their opinion, this was the one that met the requirements the best.
Michigan Model for Health.
So Michigan Model for Health actually is what we use what we have in the district for our general health curriculum. But then there's this extra added piece that they have in their program. So every teacher has been every teacher that would have this responsibility has been provided with training through RISA on how to navigate and utilize the Michigan Model for Health curriculum as well. Some implementation safeguards, parent structures. Again, if we keep our parents in the loop of what we're teaching, give them the opportunity to basically take advantage of the rights that they're entitled to. We're covering that. Scope communication, by taking care of the training that is available through Wayne Risa, that would take care of that as well. Regular reviews, I don't see this as being so much of an issue because they just changed the health standards at Michigan Department of Education. I think it would be really odd if they changed them within 12 months of having adopted brand new ones, considering it took over a decade to get these last ones done. Professional learning, again, we have that the ability to provide that to all our staff. Should we have staff turnover, that can be taken care of with no problem. Okay. So some key takeaways: yes, we take care of the legal requirement and with legal compliance. We are setting clear boundaries. We have instructional standards that we are meeting through the Michigan Department of Education and standards alignment. So there's one remaining question that you will need to provide some guidance to Nurse Jerry and I. It's because when you review the lessons, there is going to be language in there, whether it's going to be an abstinence-only approach or whether it's going to be abstinence-based. And so you have the flexibility within those lessons to address what the school board would prefer. That would also be what we need to use with the Sexual Ed Advisory Board when we have that discussion on whether the district will be moving forward with abstinence-based or abstinence-only. I know that I have had some discussion with one of your members. Axel was in the meeting with Jerry and I. He did some review of the sex ed lessons. He will be participating in our sex ed advisory board.
Thank you.
I don't want to
Thank
speak
you,
for you, Axel. Did you want to speak on which one you preferred?
Prefer
Abstinence only or abstinence based? I recall which one you had, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'd rather give you an opportunity to.
Tell us.
it really depends on what the person's really looking for. So I could say abstinence is better. Someone else could say the abstinence. What was the other one?
Based,
Based,
so
yes.
abstinence only versus abstinence based.
Okay. I thought in our discussion you had preferred abstinence based, given the climate of today's society.
I believe that's what they taught when my 30-something-year-old son took, I believe when we taught sex ed, before we taught abstinence, I believe we taught abstinence-based.
My understanding is that's the traditional approach within the district. However, I don't want to make assumptions and still
Right.
give the board an opportunity to make a decision.
Absolutely.
Surprisingly, through our time at Wayne Risa, getting to spend time with a lot of the representatives from the schools in the county, you'd be surprised at how many school districts have voted to go with abstinence
Abstinence
only.
only.
Yeah. They have their
The
reasons.
healthiest
right?
choice.
Data does not shine in favor of abstinence only, and I am an evidence-based kind of person. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And if you would like more information, I will definitely send you the research on it. I have no problem with that.
Mr. Bailey?
What's abstinence based?
The difference between the two is in how you approach and are able to answer questions in the curriculum. We're not allowed to talk about condoms in school. We're not allowed to talk about a lot of different things required by law in the state of Michigan while in the classroom. It's more of a
That's
providing
archaic.
resources aspect in that would be available to the students. If I'm abstinence only, I can't talk about anything, and my wording has to be very specific. Abstinence is 100% effective against transmission of HIV. Whenever we're talking about HIV and sexually transmitted diseases and stuff like that. We're not currently discussing sex education.
Right.
Although the two will bleed together, especially on the high school side, right?
So under the rules, can we point to somewhere where they can get this information?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No,
right?
and the liability,
I'm sorry, you're referencing for abstinence only or abstinence based?
Well,
Like if-
abstinence only, according to him, you can't say anything. Abstinence based, I can point to somebody else.
there are more
Give
options.
information.
There are more options, but again, this,
I believe that falls under the community resources portion.
yes. And you'll see it whenever you review. Please review the curriculum. The
Yeah.
user interface is very easy to go through, and it will say right off to the side whether it's abstinence-based or abstinence only. And then you get to go through and see what the differences are. They're not terribly different from each other in the information that they're provided. And Michigan Model for Health has provided very nice evidence-based materials as it follows the law for either choice. It's just more options available to keep children safe in the long run when we're talking about sexually transmitted
Keep
diseases.
them safe.
And we don't,
Yes.
we
How do
don't,
you keep them safe when they're kept in the dark?
Oh, yeah, I love that.
So you're from the
Absolutely.
medical background, so am I.
Absolutely.
So the thing is from what I'm seeing, we're actually setting these people up. If we can point somewhere, if we don't have the political will to teach these kids what they need to know,
Yes.
if we can point somewhere else where they can get that information.
If,
I know doggone well, this is contributing to not good outcomes.
yes, I agree.
so Mr. Bailey, I would recommend that when making a decision, given what I hear from your stance just now, that you advocate for abstinence-based instead of abstinence only.
Yes.
Yes, but is there a plan B where we can direct these kids to somebody who's willing to teach them
If the board
how
votes,
life works?
if whoever is involved in making this decision says we're gonna go with abstinence only, no one, without bringing liability upon the organization, will be able to point in any direction. If a parent then sits into the classroom, and they're able to do that, and someone says something or points a person in a direction that we know in our hearts is a better choice, but we are only allowed to speak on abstinence, the parent wants to bring a lawsuit, they very well can. So that's
And they
why
probably would.
it's important to research the information, research the literature and the evidence, and support it as well as you possibly can.
So we all know how to play the game. We've been on this planet for X amount of years, right? And we're in a position where we have to walk a fine line. I understand that. But I also understand the ability to come up with Plan Bs where we can follow the rules and still not kill these kids.
It just takes one upset person, one
Yeah.
upset child who's been taught in maybe an extreme fundamentalist environment to get angry about it, go back, tell their church, and their church takes action, and then it's all over with.
Yeah.
Pointing people in the right, I love that. I love that idea, and I wish that we could all do that, but that's why the vote is important on whether or not it's for abstinence-based, which is just based in abstinence. We know that abstinence is 100% effective in not preventing sexually transmitted diseases, right? Because there's no opportunity for a
opportunity.
disease to transfer.
No.
But there are other options, knowing that children are going to be having sex. All of our students, most of our students are going to be having sex, and the rates are climbing in Detroit. They are, the literature's out there, the data is out there. So we know that they're going to be having sex, and we know that diseases are going to be transferring. So
Because
there
people
are
that-
options to keep them safe in abstinence-based, outside of just abstinence alone, right? So that's where we get to point the finger to, hey, here's a healthier option. If we know you're gonna do it.
Not a healthier option. Can we point to somebody who will actually teach them the information they need to know?
Are they going to take the liability on themselves?
I
They're
think
not in
right.
school. They're not under the law, right?
If you point the finger to an organization that's not under the umbrella of Redford Union School District, the person who points the finger
Is liable.
is liable, period. It all comes back to them.
So,
And will people try, if you vote, if the vote is made and it goes to abstinence only, and a teacher's like, whatever, I'm gonna point you in the right direction, they'll be held liable.
To the chair. So I think that the concern is important, and I think that a lot of people think the same way of your concerns, Mr. Bailey, but I do think that the purpose of this curriculum and any sex education curriculum is to bring awareness to the students to a level that's appropriate within the school setting without giving too much, right? And the point of that awareness is from there that they within themselves find it like, okay, this is my other person that I can go to, or I can do my own research and find the resources or the support that I need. But the ultimate goal is to bring awareness and understanding and knowledge behind the decisions that they're making in order to move forward in either direction that they choose. Whether it be finding resources or talking to a trusted person outside of school, and so on and so forth, and making the choice for themselves after that.
For the chair.
Mr. Bailey,
So we have an opportunity here, at least from a medical perspective. These people may not even realize it, but we have
why
a
does he have to
chance
insult us?
to have a real impact here by letting these people know things. This just isn't HIV. This is monkeypox. This is Ebola. They're all sexually transmitted diseases. If you're gonna teach this that narrow in terms of transmission, what's the point? When you can treat, you can also get this by doing this. And I don't understand, you guys mentioned, Mr. About The spread of
Maybe that's
HIV,
his name.
there's no spread? You don't.
He didn't say
In-
that.
In relation
HIV
to,
does not spread.
No, it says the HIV, the spread of HIV or the, not the spread of HIV. There are ways to not get HIV,
Right?
which means it will
That's
not spread.
right, but
So
there's
that
also ways other than sex
yes.
to get
Correct.
Right.
HIV.
So
And
in
we will-
in the elementary classroom, we're not gonna be discussing sex. It's all about germ theory, blood, stigma, and the things that he discussed.
Right.
That would affect a child in elementary only, right? And then the higher in grades we get, that's where we start delving into sexual contact and things along those lines.
I think-
But specifically, this is not about sex education, what we're talking about. This is about HIV and the spread of HIV at the different levels that are appropriate for the grades that it's gonna be taught at. So 5th grade, no sex, right? Once we get into high school and those kinds of things are integrated into the health plans that the teachers are gonna be delivering, it'll be a little bit different. And then sex education as well as HIV can be tackled at the same time, right? So, but it will be a part of it, it's just not through all of the grades. So will abstinence only affect grade 5? Absolutely not. Will it affect the high school? It will.
I do want to talk to is, for the 5th grade level specifically, there, to my recollection, when I reviewed the lessons, their abstinence only and abstinence based doesn't even apply to the 1 5th grade level.
Correct.
And then if I recall
As it
correctly as well, there's only about 4, maybe 5 lessons total between the junior high level and the high school where this even comes up. And it's only, like, if you choose this one, use this process, and if you're going with this one, it's not like the entire lesson is based off it, it's just how it's embedded within how you're gonna go through the sequencing of the lesson. So the entire lesson isn't going to be focused on abstinence only, it's just when you get to a topic, there's like a fork in the road, do I go this way because we're doing abstinence only, or this way because it's abstinence based, because the creators of the curriculum are aware of those requirements and barriers that a district will have to make decisions on.
And how a teacher will respond to those kinds of questions,
Right.
right? Because inevitably, even in the middle school levels, kids are going to ask, HIV, it's a sexually transmitted disease, why aren't we talking about this? Or what can I do? What about condoms? Well, if it's voted that it's sex only, or if it's abstinence only, condoms can't be talked about. We can't talk about prophylactics at all. So it's very, I love your argument. I absolutely love your argument. And I think whenever it comes time for the vote, after the hearings and everything have been said, I hope that your opinions are heard.
And after you have an opportunity to review all the lessons, I'm sure that you will be able to make a well-informed decision on whether the curriculum addresses your concerns that you're stating this evening, or whether they're not. And I'm sure that Mr. Bailey will voice your opinion on whether they do or not when the time is provided.
So to the chair.
Mr. Bailey,
So my concern here is the scope, right? This goes beyond sex. So as we go through our activities of daily living, we run across people that are bleeding. If I have an open wound and I get their blood
the
onto
scope
that wound, I run the
addresses
risk of
that.
HIV.
Yes.
If I have blood in from a football game and I have acne and I get it on me, I run the risk of HIV. So it's just not, the requirement's this, but our opportunity to have a better impact on what we're doing at the same time can be this. It's just not sex, it's disease transmission.
I don't-
It's just not HIV.
Right.
It's Ebola,
Miss-
it's
Mi-
monkeypox,
Mr.
it's
Bailey.
whatever.
I don't think anyone.
We're not arguing against that
I
at all.
don't, right, I don't
And-
think they're saying, I don't think what they're saying is that we are only gonna teach HIV prevention from a sex point of view, because that's not what I'm hearing from them.
Right, this-
Because we all know it's not transmitted only through sex. If you are an educated adult in this,
And when you go through the
Day and
curriculum,
age.
you'll see what they talk about, and it does include staying away from bloodborne pathogens, staying
Right.
away from all kinds of things, dependent upon the grade level, and it's included in all the grade levels.
and
So it's not just sex, and again, this isn't about sex ed, it's
This is
just
about-
about HIV and STI transmission. HIV in
as a,
particular,
as a
because it's so
communicable
prevalent.
disease.
Yes.
Just like, hopefully, we're teaching that the way you prevent the flu is by washing your hands and, you know, sneezing into it, right? You know, which is also a potentially deadly communicable disease. I think that I hear what you're saying, and we do need to educate them. We need to protect them, not only from a sex point of view, but from an open wound point of view, or the other ways that it's transferred. But I think it's best that we don't know until we see those, right? I'm going to urge you all to look at the lessons once we have access to them. I'm also going to urge you to to look at your conscience. And I'm going to say, put that, like, you have to sleep at night, right? What your decision is you have to sleep at night. And I think you have to take your personal lens out of it. My personal lens would be to teach them abstinence, but that's because I'm an evangelical Christian who taught my children to wait before marriage, until marriage, right? I'm going to tell you that of my 2 married sons, one waited and one didn't, because they're people that way. They're going to make those decisions, right? I also taught them that if you're not going to wait before marriage, for God's sake, go protect yourself, right? Because, first of all, I don't want you bringing no babies home. And secondly, I don't want you to die, right? And so, you know, but I preached one way. My mother preached me to wait for marriage too, and I can... Yeah, I'm a people that way, right?
Mr. Bailey.
You know, so take that, like, I have to take my personal conviction lens out of it, because I have a responsibility to protect children, right? Go, Mrs. Martin.
So you stated that the parents is going to be notified. Wait, I guess when are we trying to do this for next school year? For next school year?
If this is approved, next school year would be ideal, if possible. I will meet with the building administrators to see if it can be worked in before the end of the school year, but we have to wait until they finish their certification. So in all likelihood, I would anticipate next school year.
And we have to have 2 public hearings.
Right.
Well, I thought this is not well, you guys have
No.
2 public meetings, right? It didn't say hearings, it said meetings.
Hearing and meeting, I viewed as interchangeable.
Okay,
So-
so this would count as one?
I thought this would count as one.
Okay.
Me too.
We were
Okay.
given that
Okay.
direction by the county, that this would
I was wondering about that too, right?
We were given that direction by the county, that this would count as one. And we also have to remember that our teachers are all going to be trained before they teach anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so like, my question is like, as it relates to the parents, I guess since it's gonna roll out, if it rolls out next year, this is gonna be a part of the enrollment packet, that this is included in, how will they get this information, I guess?
I mean, I can go from personal experience. When my students, I live in the community of Flat Rock, I'm provided a notification through Parent Square far in advance that that's going to be taught.
And
so that's
when?
the communication that's given to me. Of course, that doesn't mean that that's how we have to do it. I think that would be more of I think Ms. Crenshaw would like to chime in.
And then we would also send home the permission slips, that it's a return if you don't want them to participate kind of permission slip. In the past, Dr. Lindsay and I have taught this for many years in our time in our classrooms, and we were abstinence-based as a district for all of those years, but, so they would get the permission slip as well. I don't think we'd put it in the packet at the beginning of the year, because we have so many kids that come in throughout the year. So I would rather make sure everybody gets it at the time that we're about to do it. So we would probably do that as opposed to in the packet.
And there will be a time, you know, allotted for parents to come in. If they want to see the curriculum, they can
That's
come
been
in
my
and
experience.
go over the curriculum, I can answer questions, or whoever can answer questions about it, however they feel about it, and then make an educated decision on whether or not they want their child to participate. Could, Mr. Bailey, the program be more robust? Absolutely. But again, this is guided by the law that's already established within the state of Michigan on what needs to be taught in the classroom within the state of Michigan. So there might be a little extra, but for right now, it's just covering the basis of what needs to be covered in the state of Michigan.
Axel. One moment, Mr. Bailey. I believe Axel had something to say. And I'll come
While
back to
seeing
you.
the information, and as a student and a young teenager and everything, I'm really for abstinence-based because there's a lot of social media, and nowadays social media, that's where a lot of students are going with, and misinformation and everything, and having them learn from a
ChatGPT.
younger standpoint and building up to it is better for them to have more information. There's information that I would have liked to learn younger than which I didn't learn. So with the help of this curriculum, that will help a lot more students learn and actually help prevent a lot of stuff on the long run.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey?
So you had mentioned about we could have this more robust. Most of the people in this room have degrees. You have advanced teaching. We have over 300 staff members, I believe, all degrees. So I find it hard to believe that we can't figure out that robust. This is a great opportunity to help influence disease transmission. And to blow that opportunity, we love the kids, so to let us sit here and allow this to happen, right, and lose this as an opportunity is not congruent with loving the kids. Now, the other thing is the hearing. Supposedly this is a hearing. From my understanding, was this advertised as a hearing?
It just has to be advertised to the public that we're talking about it, and we have done that. And this, like I said, the county gave us this guidance that we should present it at a board meeting. We can hold 2 more if you'd like us to hold a separate one from this. I mean, that's not, I don't think that's an issue. I know in my experience of holding these, very few people come, which is unfortunate. So if we can get our community out to participate in these, that would be fantastic. And we also have to remember that this is, like, we're following the state guidance. We're not, we can't go off.
We don't get to decide.
We can't choose what we, in this specific area, we can't choose what we teach and don't teach. So that's all.
Nurse Jerry?
I don't want to be misunderstood.
Yeah,
It's a great curriculum.
right.
Yeah.
It has a lot of wonderful information in it. Could anything be more robust?
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that this isn't going to be robust enough to meet the needs that you're after. Could we add a few more things? Sure, we could add a lot of different things. But this is great curriculum, or we wouldn't have looked at it. The Wayne County wouldn't be suggesting it. The state of Michigan wouldn't have it as their main model. It's a great system. So once you go through it, please do go through it. I think you're going to like what you see.
To the chair.
Mr. Bailey?
Ms. Crenshaw.
Yes,
You
Mr.
said you can contact them again. Would you do me a favor and specifically ask them if, even though you've been told, I would like you to tell me that they specifically
Sure.
told you that
we will
it
do
does
that.
not have to be advertised as a hearing.
Yes, I will take care of that for you.
Also,
In a
you had
nice tone.
mentioned about, thank you.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned about a RESA event in regards to this.
Yes, there are two
It's where the
two
training happens.
annual, I'm sorry, there's 2 annual meetings, wait, I'm sorry, I may be speaking, but the sex ed training, sorry, I
Yeah.
was going with another event that Jerry and I attend twice a year. Yes, so the training is held 3-ish times a year.
3 to 4 times a year.
And the last opportunity to get our staff enrolled in that will be for next month, there was nothing earlier.
So I would like to put in a request to be notified of the meeting, and I'd like to participate.
That's professional development.
No.
I don't know that.
You're not
It's
going to be
outside-
teaching the
yeah.
course, it's not like an open meeting, it's professional learning.
Again, can you ask? And then
I-
specifically
Wouldn't hurt
tell
to
me
ask.
that they said I cannot do it.
Okay, how would you like me to frame that request, Mr. Bailey?
Can a board member come and participate and observe?
Okay, I will email Jamie Ethorn and CC you on it so that you know that it was, your request has been fulfilled.
Thank you.
All right. So I think the takeaway is we need to do our homework now so that we know how to direct this district going forward. Is there anybody else who has something on their heart or mind with regards to this?
When will we have access to the curriculum to view it?
Yeah, I thought we had already shared, but we'll go back and make sure that we did.
Yeah, I had created a folder that has every lesson in it and given it to anyone with RU access.
Oh, so we probably just need to be told how to act. We don't know about, I mean, we look at our email and that's it. Like,
I will work with Ms. Crenshaw
Send us
to
a-
make sure that
send
this
us
is
a link.
resolved tomorrow.
So, yes, and Chris will make sure that that it'll be open to any email address that you open it from.
Okay, if that's what you want, I can do that. All right.
because some of our board,
Understand.
can't get into their board email because they don't, you know.
Because
you have to be
let's-
on school property to reset your password. Anyway,
I will, so if that's the need, then I have to take care of that because I had only set it to RU accounts.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris, it's in our Google accounts, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that might be why, that I don't think many of them probably checked
Sure.
that one. So we'll make sure
I
that's
mean,
shared
I
out
use
again
my board email,
to
so
you
I
all.
should be able to find it, but, okay.
And then I just want to point out that there is an action item for this tonight, which obviously, when we put this on here, I did not have the information regarding abstinence or abstinence-based.
So we can table it.
Or knowledge, so we would need to table that action item until you can review the lessons.
My mistake.
Nope. Yeah.
Miss Warren, could you turn the air back on for us, please? I'm sorry, but we're cooking
All right.
slowly.
You
Thank
guys see, I didn't make anybody cry. I think you're off the hot seat.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Nurse Jerry. Thank you, Mr. Norton.
With you when I get cold.
All right, moving on, student representative communication. Axel.
Good evening, I would say. Well, I do want to highlight NHS because if I'm sure we're either doing it this month or next month, we're preparing our career fair. This is where a lot of people around the community and entrepreneurs come through to help recruit students for jobs and interviews and everything. And we're also planning our Are You Involved fair, which just is all the sports and extracurriculums, after school events and everything that we have would be at the high school. Should be soon. Also, spring sports are starting. That's very, very exciting. We also have a volleyball team, finally. Just wanted to say that.
Yay.
And student council is working on Teacher Appreciation Week. They're planning some stuff here and there. They're also planning and preparing the final stages for prom and everything.
Are we doing good with our fundraising on prom? I know we had talked
Yes.
about the Detroit Princess, right?
Detroit Princess, yes.
That's gonna happen?
Yes, that's gonna happen.
Yes.
It's been confirmed.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything, I'm sorry. Did I
One more
cut you
thing.
off?
One more thing.
Okay, sorry.
I forgot what day, but it was before spring break. The Redford Union Symphonic Band went to Leakin Park High School, and once again, for the second time in a row, we received a superior rating, which means our band did magnificent and amazing.
They crushed it, yes. All right. She is the bomb.com, yes. And I'll just sing her praises for a minute. I mean, she took a program that was dying, and we got her right out of college.
Yeah.
Like, she was, her
I
diploma wasn't even dry.
I remember when the marching band was 9 people.
Yes, yeah.
When we first moved to Redford.
Yep.
And now to see it where it is like crazy.
It does my heart good,
Yeah.
being a marching band mama.
And then to go from like we can fit in the middle school gym for the concerts to now we have to fundraise to get to a space where everyone can fit comfortably, including the families, is just amazing.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, moving on. Interim Superintendent's Communications, Mrs. Nachman.
Hello, everyone. So we're going to start with our staff members of the month. And at Keeler, we have Jennifer Cosper. Many of you may have not ever met Jennifer. Jennifer is our new accounts payable person, and quite honestly, she's been awesome. But she's
Yay,
she's
Jennifer.
kind of in the background. You don't really see her a lot, but it was said that Jennifer has been a great asset to the finance department and the central office team. She is very helpful and always has a positive attitude, which I agree with. She's a great team member. At Beach Elementary, we have Mrs. Etana McCurdy, who is a first grade teacher. And they say she is a great teacher to all her students and that she is the most patient teacher I know, this person
Melissa's
said.
nodding.
And that's not easy. She gets to know her students and makes them feel safe. She continues to use her data to drive her instruction and motivates her students to want to learn. She is consistent and maintains a classroom with high expectations and order. From Hilbert Elementary, we have Mrs. Jennifer Hart, who's our best practices coach. She's always working hard to make Redford Union its best. She helps out with teachers, parents, and everything in between. She does run around like a crazy woman. At the junior high school, we have Felicia Harris, one of our special education teachers. Ms. Harris is an amazing partner in the classroom. I can really rely on her, and so can the students. She always goes above and beyond to offer extra support to me and the kids. Her dedication and warmth mean the world. I think that must have been written by her educational assistant. I'm going to chuckle when I read this one, but at the high school, we have Mrs. Dory Reed, our secretary. And this person must always catch Miss Reed on a good day because says she's always so kind, friendly, and helpful when I'm there.
Exclamation point.
Which I've seen many a times, but I've also seen the other side.
She's the one in charge for sure.
She is. She is the boss over there. And then in this building, McGowan, we have Mrs. Jennifer Rotenheber. She's one of our deaf and hard of hearing teacher consultants. And it was noted that she is very dedicated to her students. And those consultants are traveling throughout the county and working in schools outside of the district to work with our DHH students. And next up, we have our board brag book. And Miss Nickel can start. She's got about 400 pages. So.
Hold on.
Hold on, I'm sorry, Mr. Norton duplicated my screen here.
Wow, Mr. Norton.
Drag it to the little seat, I need that over here. There you go.
There we go. She's a highly trained tech professional.
Well, trained.
All right.
So
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
we just, right before spring break, had our
Oh my gosh.
full building PBIS celebration. Last year, we decided that we were gonna make tie-dye shirts for everybody. This year, we said, let's do something else that's crazy and time consuming. And so, we made, every kid and adult got to make a trucker hat.
I
The
love- look
kids
how
got
cute
to
they
pick out
are.
their own, what the patches? Yeah, patches, thank you, that's what I was looking for. They got to pick out 3. We then spent quality time and many a day putting those on the hats. We have some hat presses that we were able to use. The kids then got to wear them, and we would wear them throughout
Look how
the rest
cute
of the
they
school year.
are.
Kate, you can see them wearing them every day when they come in. They're super, super cute.
Yeah,
So,
little trucker hat.
we have
Little
adult
trucker hat.
sizes as well. And they're all of the patches are school appropriate, which was important for us when we were growing up. But it was a really great time, and all kids got to participate. Yeah. Shout out to Lockridge. Yeah. Miss Lapham wore hers sideways up a little bit, and I cried a little every time. It was joyful for me. We had March's Reading Month, obviously, and Katie Young, who is COSA reading coach for both of the elementary schools. Passion project is always to set up for Reading Month, and she rocks it. She does a beautiful job creating, just magical spaces for kids to read and be read to in. So she designed a circus theme for both schools, I believe. I'm sure Jill had pictures too. And then she also planned a field trip for all of our kindergarten and first grade students to go to the Redford Township Library during the month as well. So there's pictures of them being read to as well as going to the library. And then the Hope Squad came and spent some time with our kiddos, our students, sorry, Judy.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And it's a trigger word, guys. And they spent really some
It's a wonderful time. The students had just a great time getting to engage with older children. We were really excited. They came to us after they went to our other elementary school, and they were still engaged and excited to be here with the kids. So it was a fun time had by all.
Love it. Teamwork there. Look at them sharing.
We had a variety of fifth graders, which also included Ron Hilliard from WBID. For Cassie's class, won that. And they had submitted an application to have him come to our school to read. So he's a meteorologist. It was very engaging, the lesson that he gave after, and the things that the kids asked were great questions. He was enthralled, and he ended up staying for over an hour with them. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna cancel my appointment. So it
Wow.
was very cute. He met with the fourth grade class. So that was enjoyable. We also had our Katie Young also set up many different guest readers. She changed our media center into a circus theme as well. And our kindergartners and first graders went to their library field trips. And you can see we had Hope Squad there as well. For our house system, we had our house leader recognition. These are students, 3 students that represent each of the 4 houses, so 12 students altogether. They took and filled 3,000 Easter eggs
Wow.
for our school. And we had our first annual full school Easter egg hunt. These are the students, the student leaders getting their jackets. So we just purchased them off Amazon, put a patch on them, handy dandy. But this river, I had one kid, his smile was so giant, and we took a video, and they were jumping up and down. They were so proud of their jackets. So these are 12 student leaders who have helped out with all sorts of community engagement as well as school fundraisers. And then that was our Easter egg hunt. They went and hid them in 3 different, well, there wasn't really hidden, they were laid out.
3,000 eggs you can't hide. You just lay them on the ground.
So I had a little girl today, she came back and she said, oh, Miss Bird, she said, I wasn't there for the Easter egg hunt, could you do it again? Well, you know, Fridays at 2:15, we do fun things, so if I wouldn't be absent on those days. And she goes, good point.
Life lesson.
Before you go, Krista, I forgot to add, and Jill and I have a fundraiser that's happening on Thursday. It's the Friends of the Beach Elementary Library. It's been spread out to not only include Beach, but also includes Hilbert for the last 2 years. And that's this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. It's at the AOH Hall, and Betsy McRae and her plethora of sisters, I think there's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
They put it on every year for us. The community comes together, and they raise between $4,000 and $6,000 to share between the 2 of us to get books for our library or books for teachers' libraries in the classroom, so that we can get some new things every year. So if you're able to come, I know it's been posted on Facebook pages, but she'd love to have you at the cash bar in case. Sorry, but there's orders and things like that in the silent auction.
Yeah, it's really a nice event to go.
It is a nice event, yeah.
Marion will be there. I'll be there.
I'll be there too, after our literacy night.
Yeah.
You're gonna be dead after that. No.
Cash bar.
I'll prop her up there with cash bar.
Do we need some
You have to be a member,
designated drivers?
so you're gonna be approached by a $5 membership fee.
I've never been approached to buy that, but I've always been approached to buy
After
it.
14 years, yeah.
I'll just
Just
have
FYI.
a cradle buy it.
We all
Wow,
had to buy them.
That's funny.
that's funny.
It's worth it.
All right, Ms. Peterson.
All right.
I did start our grade book with something that happened at the end of February because I didn't want to not give our AKAs that do so much for our school recognition. But the Redford, they do so so much for our school, and they came out for our Black History Month assembly at the end of February. They passed them, as the kids were going in, they were passing stuff out to the kids. They also donated a large number of books to the school, so we distributed those throughout the classrooms, and they come and do things in our building at least once a month. It's awesome. It's a great partnership, and we look forward to every time they're in the building. It's just a lovely group.
Thank you.
Of women. Also, we kind of tagged along with the high school event, and Mr. Norton did a great job putting on the financial literacy fair through Community Choice Credit Union. They came and they set up in the media center. A group of our 9th graders got to go, and I thought it was just going to be kind of, you know, they go around and get information, but it was like real life skills. They had this passport, and they had a certain amount of money, and they had to like make different decisions. Are you going to buy a new car or a used car? Well, they all wanted the new car until they started looking at insurance.
How much it is.
Are you going to buy the big box store furniture, or are you going to go and you're going to buy the bougie furniture? Oh, everything's going to be a top priority until they see the price line. So it was a really cool, like watching their expressions, like, but I don't have that much money, and I'm already out of money at Station 1. Welcome to life.
Welcome to life, yes.
Yeah, I know. I think they were a little sad, but it was like really, really wonderful. The Community Choice sent a ton of people out, and they were all really nice people, worked really well with the kids. So again, thank you, Mr. Norton. I know a lot of work went in on your part to make that happen. The kids, the teachers too, were really, really enjoying it and looking at other ways that we can add that financial literacy to our programming, which is so important for our kids. And then again, along the same lines as Reading Month, some of our teachers really got into the spirit of that. We had a Spirit Week. We did Read Across America Day, of course. And Ms. Kuka had a March Madness reading day in her classroom, and of course she did. She's a teacher that's always doing all the decorations and things in her classroom. And each day she had an opportunity, Monday through Thursday, for kids to participate in like the minute-to-minute games to earn points. And then on Friday, depending on how many points they had, they translated into how many times they could shoot the ball into the mini hoop. And we made it a house competition, and the winning house got their points. But the kids were really, really excited for that. Really were into their reading and, you know, pulling out the information they needed to get those prizes. Zapson also donated, Zapson and Livonia, they donated some vouchers that they had so that the kids could go and get in there and play around a little bit with their families over spring break as well. So that was another fun thing for the students. And then we were talking, the last thing I was talking about was our band and choir teachers visiting the elementary schools to recruit 6th graders for 7th grade band and choir next year. So already looking towards that. They had a really large number of students, about 60 students, sign up for either band or choir, which is wonderful. A lot of the students were able to go to the, I don't know if you went.
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, but some of the students went to and performed and showed the students the instruments and got them excited. So it's a great way to continue growing our junior high and then ultimately the high school program to get the 6th graders on board, and they are definitely on board. So
Love it.
And thank you to Jill and Melissa for inviting us over to do that. Do you want me to read the high school too, or?
Sure. Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Robertson were not able to be here tonight, so Ms. Peterson, you're on deck.
All right, so congratulations to senior Rico, I think it's Gee, for being named as McDonald's Black History Maker of Tomorrow, an honor that was presented by our local McDonald's franchise located on Grand River. Rico's dedication to his community, as well as his academic work ethic, contributed to him receiving this award. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Jalen Collins and Tatum Moore, who both earned their way to the MHSAA Wrestling Individual State Finals
Yeah.
at Ford Field on March 5th and 6th. Jalen competed hard and represented Redford Union very well. Tatum made it all the way to the semifinal round of the winners bracket. He also finished this year with 49 wins and was the first wrestler since 2003 to be named to the All-State team.
Yay. Whoop, whoop.
Mrs. Jane.
I was ready,
Wake
this month, we would like to acknowledge.
Oh, that looks familiar.
That's because it's yours, Mrs. Chang.
It's gonna be all right, Katie.
So this month we celebrated our honor roll kids, and I'll tell you, the ones that know they've made honor roll, if I am late making certificates, for what we're doing,
They come after
are
you.
on me. On me. It's Jane, 'cause they are so, they don't look like it in this picture, but they are so proud to get
Everybody
It's
wants,
the
look,
teenage thing to do. We cover
Yeah.
our faces, we
Yeah.
don't show our teeth.
So we always feed them, and then I usually do some kind of surprise. This last time I gave them each a little gift certificate, like get out of free, something, an assignment in my room kind of a thing, which they all went around and bragged to their friends.
I don't have to do this
The
assignment.
advertising is great, so.
Absolutely. I like the part you said, even the ones that had made honor for the first time. I love that part.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
They're so proud when they do.
they should be.
All right, and last is just the calendar of events that is in your packet. You will notice that the months of April, May, and June are packed.
Busy.
Packed at each of our buildings, so please pray for our teachers and our principals and all of our school staff, because these last few months are crazy. So they should probably have the library fundraiser later in the year when you really need that cash bar. But,
Yeah,
no,
this is like,
this is it, this is the home stretch.
all right. Moving on, communications received by the board secretary. All right, you have none. Interim chief financial officer communications, is there anything from Maria?
No, just to let you know that we are continuing our talks regarding our shared education services, and we are scheduled to meet with shared education services along with our attorneys and their attorney on Thursday to further discuss this contract and moving forward with another shared services provider.
All right, thank you. Executive Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations, it's all you, it's all you.
The only thing I have is that we're continuing, I want to keep saying communicating for continuing, I don't know. We are continuing with negotiations, so we are bargaining again with the RUEA tomorrow at 3, and we've made a lot of progress thus far, and I assume that tomorrow will be another productive day. We will begin bargaining with our educational assistants this month on April 23rd. And we will begin bargaining with our secretaries on April 29th. And we are hopeful that we'll wrap both of those up with one session. And we did a lot of work last year, so we don't have as much, or last negotiations, so we don't have as much to do. So we're hopeful that that will be taken care of, and then we will have them set and ready to go for May. And hopefully we can bring everybody to a June, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a June approval meeting for all of our groups.
Awesome, thank you. Executive Director of Curriculum and Technology Communications, Mrs. Crenshaw.
We're moving into testing season, so everyone is super thrilled with that idea.
Really excited.
Everyone in the
Right,
room is
woohoo.
like pins and needles waiting to get it all started. I know they're like, been losing sleep over, how excited they are. So that's happening. For the bond work, because I think I'm supposed to update y'all on that stuff too. We did have our bid openings for the baseball field today, so We'll be sending all of that information out to you as soon as all of that is finalized. We'll have our first reading for all of those items at the April workshop, which I will not be able to attend because I have another event that evening. So Mrs. Nachman, our wonderful note taker down there, will have all the answers that you need in my absence. So if there's anything that comes up while I'm not here, please feel free to shoot me an email. We will also have a presentation on the beach drawings at the workshop as well. Mr. Marchetti from the French architect team will be here to go through those with everybody for a quick overview of the different areas of construction at beach. And I think that's about all I have. It's kind of slow right now. So you'll have the bid pack for the Stuckey demolition at the April workshop, and the baseball field bid
Okay.
packs. So those will be presented, and then we'll vote on those at the May meeting, which I might not be at as well, because, it's baseball season, sorry. But again, Mrs. Nachman's here, she's got it. That's all I have.
No kids at home.
All right.
No baseball.
Interim Executive Director of Student
Oops.
Services Communications. I guess that's going to change.
Yep, this
Change.
interim should come off.
Executive
I didn't catch that when I
Director,
proofread
I
it.
didn't either, of Student Communications, then that would be Mrs. Tamron Dillard. And while she's not here for us to say welcome back. Is she? Oh, I did not see you down there. I'm so sorry. You are here. Well, welcome back. We missed you. And you're on.
Well, no, I'm glad, I'm super excited to be back.
I didn't see her down there.
I discovered that quickly, so thanks to Judy Nachman, who is wonderful, genuinely. I am back and ready to go. Special ed is not slow, so thank you, Kim. We're not slow in special ed. We are rocking and rolling. We are working on center-based budgets. Those are due end of April. Got a lot of things moving in special ed. Got a lot of things moving with 504s. Ideas for staffing, those kinds of things. So I am thrilled to be back. Jen Smith did an amazing job as interim. I'm so proud of her. Excellent job. So thank you to her. And I am so happy to be back and where I consider to be home. So thank you.
And I apologize for not seeing you down there. I was expecting you to be around the end table. All right. We are going to move on to discussions, and I will reiterate what I said at the beginning. We need to do better, and we need to make sure we have healthy, respectful discussions around these two topics, because they've been some hot topics with this board. And the first one is board committee meetings. I want to have some open discussion before we make a decision as to whether or not we go forward with having both committee of the whole and advisory committee. So I have a couple things to share with you.
Ms.
And-
Pridemore, can I just remind the board to please turn your microphone on when you're speaking?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't know how many copies I have here. Take one, pass it down. Okay, so I did some homework, and I'll give some history for those who don't know. For a long time, this board and this district worked only in advisory committee mode. And we had several different committees, everything from finance to building and maintenance, and 3 board members, every year we'd say, this is where my heart is, these are the committees that I would want to be on, and then the superintendent and the board president assigned committees based on the heart of the board, right? So the first thing I want to say about that, because I said the superintendent and the board president, because our bylaws say that the board may create various committees to gather information for the board, and a committee will not consist of more than 3 people, and that they are appointed by the board president. That is in our bylaws. That's the way That's just the way it works. We went to committee of the whole. We did away with those those advisory committees because Mr. Bailey specifically and I and the administration at the time disagree with whether or not a fourth board member should be present at a committee meeting because of best practices. And so I wrote some notes about this. What I have passed out to you, you can see highlighted, talk about specifically a fourth member showing up at a committee meeting. I'm going to say this. Let's agree to disagree on whether or not a board member attending a committee meeting as a citizen is okay. You implied in an email this morning, Mr. Bailey, that why wouldn't we have these posted? And by the way, Open Meetings Act does not require that we post a committee meeting because they are advisory in nature only. We are not required to post a committee meeting per the Open Meetings Act. But you implied earlier that why wouldn't we want the public to be involved unless we were afraid of them knowing what we are going to do, what is going on. Since our committee meetings in the past have been advisory in nature, the committee is only gathering information to present to the whole board, and then in a regular public board meeting, decisions are being made. Nothing is being hidden from this community. So I'm going to flip your script. I'm going to flip the script on you. Your own words are frequent. You are frequently sit here and you criticize administration, teachers, and this board for failing to use best practices. As a matter of fact, you're asking for a best practices committee. Yet you choose not to acknowledge our use of them yourself. You choose not to acknowledge the use of best practices yourself when it doesn't suit your personal agenda, which is your right as a citizen to attend a committee meeting. We've all been taught in our Open Meetings Act training that more than 3 members is not a best practice. You don't get to have it both ways. You've got to practice what you preach. As you can see, while there are opportunities, Open Meetings Act speaks about not a quorum versus a not quorum. You shared about how if we all show up at a meeting together, we're not violating Open Meetings Act. We're correct, we're not. If we attend a social event, we're not violating Open Meetings Act. If the Planning Commission, the Redford Township Planning Commission, if the Redford Township Board trustees show up at a Redford Township Planning Commission, they are not violating Open Meetings Act. So we're going to agree to disagree. However, it is not a best practice. This 2 pages talks about why it's not a best practice. So I say that again, you don't get to have it both ways. Before we even go to the vote on whether or not we want to have committees, I think we need to look at what is the purpose of any committee, right? The innovation, you want a committee on innovation, but you haven't really given us a lot of information around that. And you want a committee on best practices, I think that kind of speaks for itself. I want to say, what do you envision in those? And I'll give you a chance to, respond. I talked about past committees in the past. We currently have an ad hoc committee, which is 3 of our board members sit on the bond committee as a steering committee. I'm interested in other suggestions from this board on what potential committees we need. I want to say, keep in mind that committees need to have administrators involved. They typically meet late in the afternoon out of courtesy to them, so before a board meeting, and that takes a commitment on our part. You want to be a part of a committee, you got to be willing and able, not even just willing, able to attend a committee meeting. And not everybody has that flexibility to come into the district at maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? It's a struggle. We all work full-time jobs. So that's my speech. I am not opposed to forming advisory committees. That's the way we did it before. I I sounded like I was opposed before, and I'm not. I'm not opposed to that. But I want us to, one, be very intentional in those committees. Two, know where we're headed, what's the purpose of the committee and the work that's going to be done. And three, remember what best practices are. And we can't get our panties in a bunch if we don't get our way and don't get appointed to the committee that we want.
To the chair.
Mrs. Johnson.
Okay, so obviously I was not here during that time. So I would have to say that for me, I would need like further explanation as to how those committees ran and then how things were brought back to the board as a whole. And then also like, is everyone on a committee required to be on a committee? Is there only certain committees and just like, or you just make up any kind of committee? Like, I'm not really sure on how like all of that works in logistically. So for me, I would need some clarification as to like what would that look like in the future if we were to go that route.
And I think I can help you with that. Like in the past, we had a policy committee. We had a finance committee. Those were committees we had every single year. We had a curriculum committee. We had a building and maintenance committee. And then every so often, there would be a different committee that was created at the beginning of the year based on a need somewhere where we were headed, right? A bond committee because we were doing bond work or whatever. At that time, we didn't require, but most board members served on 2 committees. So for a long time, I was board treasurer. I served on finance because the board treasurer should serve on the finance committee. And I served on curriculum because when I ran for this seat, I ran on improving the curriculum of this district. And so curriculum is very passionate. I'm very passionate about it. I did that for a long time. We always took, and then what would happen is the administrator who oversaw the committee, whomever it was, when we did policy, we used to be our executive assistants. She brought the policies to us. We reviewed them because policies need to be changed. Our policy manual is way out of date, by the way.
Yes, Kevin is working.
Kevin was like shocked. But policies change because laws change. So they would, the committee would review that, right? Get some questions answered, and then come back to the board and say, hey, the law is changing, and so the policy needs to change because of it. Or we looked at this, and the policy needs to, it's recommended that the policy should change based on this. So that's kind of how they worked in the past.
So if there was like a curriculum committee, then that committee would work directly with Kim?
Yes.
Or like communicate with
Yeah.
her as far as
Yeah, like
curriculum
Kim,
concerns?
like the administrator who was in charge, who oversaw that committee, would say, okay, hey, Megan, Evelyn, Jeff, let's have I'm trying to get a committee meeting together because we need to purchase new math curriculum or whatever. I'm just throwing names out there, Jeff. What's you guys' availability? And then you kind of sit down and you start to, it's about gathering the information and then bringing it to the board, which we do.
Thank you for the clarification.
You are welcome. All right. Any further questions? Mrs. Dean?
No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I think that, like, for instance, how we have, what is that, onboarding process, right? And for instance, we had, I'm just, throwing it out there.
Yeah.
We had an onboarding committee. I think that this process, we probably would be done with the onboarding process.
Because we could put them.
Like, for instance, when we have special board meetings, not special board meetings, when we have our workshop meetings, our study session meetings, we fill it up with so much other stuff.
I agree.
To where it's hard to really, you know what I'm saying, like get down in the nitty gritty and you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
do the work. And so, like, for me, this is why I personally see committees being helpful because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it was like just having committees in general helps a board, function.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, it's hard to hear what has happened in the past and why it was, why we chose not to move forward with committees. So it's like, but I do see a need.
I agree. I was actually really disappointed when we went away from committee work. Because, you're right, we packed so much into our board workshops already that I agree, we would have an onboarding process done already if 3 people and an administrator were doing the work and had been able to come back to the board and say, this is what other did. Thank you, by the way, Mr. Bailey, for the link to Rochester. Thank you for that. Because we don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? But do the 7 of us really have time to look and see what else is out there, what other districts are doing to create our own? Probably not. But do 3 people maybe have time to do it and are passionate about it? Probably. Yeah. So I'm like, I realize I came off as being anti-committee, and I'm not at all. But I think we have to agree that we are going to follow best practices in order for them to work the right way.
I have one more question. So with making this decision, it sounds like we need to take into consideration opinions of administrators as well. Like, how does that work? Like, can they say like, no, I don't want to? Depending on what kind of committee is made.
I never knew how that worked as far as what committees they got put on.
Okay.
But I would think logically, if we were going to have a curriculum committee, logically, we would have Mr. Norton and Mrs. Crenshaw on that committee, right? Our finance committee, if we were going to have a finance committee, logically, it's Maria and then 3 board members. So I think it's about letting our superintendent put the best teacher or administrator in the role that she knows they're passionate about, and that they're comfortable doing. And their job is really to guide us, right? Because they have access to information that we have, no clue about, right? They're educators for a reason. I don't know what I don't even know how to find out what the best curriculum is, right? But I'm going to trust that they're coming back. And there have been times that the committee pushed back and said, okay, why, right? And that's where a healthy committee comes in. So how that worked in the past, I'm assuming that the superintendent said, I think they probably got voluntold. You were voluntold? Judy said she was voluntold.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, they don't get to say no.
And so, can we ask ourselves, openly, will we follow the guidelines? Can we, say like, hey, look, are we willing to take that individually commitment, say, I will not show up on committee meetings as a 4th person?
I think we do need to ask ourselves that.
And can we do it openly and say, I will not do that?
I'm comfortable with that because I'm going to be honest and follow a best practice. Yeah, I don't have a problem with saying I'm not going to. And I'll tell you, I think the response of the board will determine whether or not I vote in favor of us having committees.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you want me to just go down the table?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Osowski, are you comfortable committing to not show up at a committee meeting that you are not appointed to?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
I am comfortable with that. Mrs. Dean?
I'm comfortable with that.
Mrs. Martin?
I'm comfortable.
Mr. Bailey?
Friend, I'm not revoking my rights. So, you keep conveniently forgetting that Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, produced a handbook. I gave it to you, page 9. It depends on the situation. If something's going on, I want firsthand information, not filtered information. I'm gonna know this. I'm in this position to know what the hell's going on.
Mr.
Not
Bailey?
filtered information.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, I will attend if it's needed.
So you get to determine whether or not it's needed, you, one person of this board, and I'm going to take a deep breath because I promise to be respectful. First of all, I am familiar with Dana Nessel's Open Meetings Handbook. And when you say friend in that tone, it's extremely disrespectful because you're about to insult me. I have been thoroughly trained on Dana Nestle's Open Meetings Handbook. However, because they are advisory committees, we are not required to even tell a non-committee member or the community when that committee meeting is going to happen. And in the past, we didn't. It was a communication between the administrator and the 3 committee members on their availability, and then every month we reported out on whether or not we had met and what was done. So, yeah. So clearly, we have one board member who is not willing to abide to his best practice, which he always wants to preach. So we're going to end, we can have more discussion.
To the chair.
Mrs. Johnson.
In regards to this current conversation, I think that the biggest thing that we need to focus on as a board in going through all of the things that we're doing to become better is to put our trust within the other members on the board in those committees that are created, knowing that they are on the committee because they have that passion and that importance to them, and that they would bring back the most accurate and unfiltered and raw and important information to the rest of the board that would make a difference within our district. And I think that we need to kind of take a step back and not look at it as, oh, I'm missing out on a conversation of curriculum, or I'm missing out on a conversation of finance, but knowing that, oh, wow, like these people that I'm working with on this board are taking additional time out of their lives to make very important decisions, and I'm trusting in them to come back and bring information to us and to myself to make the best decision moving forward. And I think that that's where our focus needs to be in order to move forward as a cohesive, respectful board, and showing that to our district and our kids and our administrators who are in front of us today.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank
Johnson.
you, Mrs. Johnson.
Very well said.
We do have an action item tonight regarding whether or not we want to move forward with advisory committees. So let's kind of save further discussion to the action item. Another point of discussion that this board needs to have is with regards to citizens videotaping.
How did you jump from one to the other?
I moved us on to the next point of discussion. That's how I jumped. I said we would continue board committee meeting discussion when we come to the action item later on this discussion, on this agenda, and moved us on to guidelines for allowing community video recording. So again, I did some Open Meetings Act research. So for some time, Mr. Bailey chooses to act as a citizen and record our meetings for whatever reason. If I understand, his original purpose was because we as a district didn't record our meetings. So we put into action and we started recording our meetings. He chooses not to reveal to anyone what he does with them, what's the purpose behind them, to not comply. The previous board expressed to him that we weren't comfortable with it. In the past, we tried to pass a policy around what is a reasonable allowance of the citizens, since he's choosing to act as a citizen, even though he was told by multiple lawyers and quoted case law that when you sit down in this seat, your rights as a citizen end. So the Open Meetings Act speaks to taping and broadcasting, and it says a board may establish reasonable regulations governing the televising or filming of a hearing open to the public in order to minimize any disruption to the hearing, but may not prohibit such coverage. So we don't prohibit it, but we do have a right as a board to set some guidelines around them We tried in the past, I think what was written was pretty complicated and it got voted down, but I did dig into my computer at home. I do have what was presented to the board before. I'm perfectly, I'll bring that if we want to continue to have this discussion. I know that there's some concern by your fellow board members about this, and it's been expressed to me, and that's why I brought this back. And if it is the will of this board to adopt a policy, a reasonable policy around that, then that's some work that we need to start doing. And so now I'll open this up for discussion.
I got something. Just a thought.
Mhm.
Like, let's say for instance, if we did have a policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if this policy was violated, what would happen? Because
See,
technically, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we can't per se discipline somebody.
but we can censure,
We can censor.
and we can adjourn a meeting if they refuse to comply.
Then that's a lot. Because
It is a lot.
Because then, you know, we will be adjourning meetings every session.
Yeah. And to kind of help, in the past, what the policy that we kind of had started to draft talked about allowing video recording only from a handheld device, which would prevent someone other than news media from setting up a tripod and a camera in the room. And we also talked about, the policy also talked about, like if the news media wanted to come, and they obviously need to set something up, that they would need to notify, we would ask that they notify us within a certain time frame, and I don't remember because I didn't read the policy that we had written. It was really, I think it was probably a little more complicated than it needed to be, but it was kind of drafted by another board member who was frustrated with the process and trying to cover all their bases. But we can set forth a reasonable guideline and say, you can't set your tripod up, right? You can't record from the board table, which this board actually passed a resolution on. Well, the previous board, because it started with recording from the board table. And at that point, you weren't acting as a citizen, you were acting as a board member. And it was just, the board was really frustrated with it. When we tried to take it to the next step, the board at that time was not prepared to shut it down fully. We have made, but we had, we've talked about in the past about, I have adjourned a meeting before. I don't like to do that because then the business of the district doesn't get done. And
So, you know, you see what I'm saying now?
I do, because it is a complicated matter, and the fact that it's, once again, one particular board member who thinks that he gets to have his way in everything, and just refusing to comply with, to respect the wishes of the other 6 people sitting at this table. It's just blatant disrespect for the wishes of your fellow board members. And we have no idea what you're doing with that, how you're editing your videotape to suit your own agenda, to make yourself look better and us look bad. I've seen evidence of that when you ran your campaign. To make this district look bad, I will say that of the 7 people in this, sitting at this table, you're the only one who's ever taken an action that is intentionally detrimental to this district. And so I don't trust what you're doing with the recording. I'm sure you showed them to your lawyers. I'm sure you edited them to your lawyers when you decided to sue this district because we told you that your opinions didn't align with ours. And I'll look right in your camera and say, I don't care if you tell your attorney I said that. But it's about doing better. It's about respecting the wishes of your fellow board members. and realizing and listening to experts and your rant in your email about a surgeon telling you need to have your appendix out. Come on. Just, I don't have time to read that crap. Mr. Osowski.
No, it was
No,
actually me.
Mrs. Johnson. Sorry. I don't know how we stop it, Mrs. Martin.
I just want to remind ourselves that we need to move in best practices
Agreed.
in all cases,
Thank you.
in all opinions. And then I do have a follow-up question. We record and post every meeting to the school board or to the school district website, correct?
Do we post them to the website or?
They are all linked on our website.
Okay.
As up to date as they are. I think I don't have last month's up yet.
Okay.
So
those
They
are
are,
on our website.
they
I don't-
are available to
Yes.
be viewed,
Yes,
and that was from
correct.
my understanding prior to being here. And have we ever, this may be a bad question. We are currently recording, or that we are also live as an event that somebody could watch from home? Or no?
No,
That is not the
we've
case.
never live
Okay.
streamed.
And a lot of our recordings, because, like I said, please turn on your volume.
It's
People
on.
don't always,
Okay.
I know you did, but because people don't always do that, the
Gotcha.
sound is not always all that great because there's a green button.
Right,
Yeah.
because your button's not green. And that's, honestly, I don't know, Mr. Bailey, if you get good sound on your recordings or not. That's a question you could answer. And I'm curious to hear from you as to why you continue to do it. What's your purpose? Respectfully, please.
So Ms. Pridemore, under the Open Meetings Act, which is the law, and you said, let's agree to disagree.
That was with regards to committee meetings.
Instead of let's agree to disagree, how about if we, before we comment and stuff, actually read the law?
Well, let's see. I read the law, I quoted the law
So
to
it
you that
says-
says we have the right to set up reasonable.
It says all persons who attend the meeting can videotape, broadcast, whatever. Why do you find exception to that? Why do you even question it?
Because I don't trust you.
So what? It's under the law. Why would you even bring it up?
Because this board is unhappy with the fact that you choose to do that. This
State law
board.
trumps this
Okay,
board.
so I'm asking, and because board members came to me to address this, that this board look at setting up some reasonable guidelines. And I'll tell you, that is not okay. I think a reasonable guideline is a handheld device only. That's my opinion, but I'm going to let the board determine what a reasonable guideline is and let the board decide. And then respect, all I'm asking you to do is to let this board decide what is a reasonable guideline and then, for God's sake, respect it.
Sorry, friend. I'm going to follow the law.
We're-
You do
I
whatever
haven't.
you need to do.
You know what? I will. I will do what I have to do. I didn't say you couldn't record it. I want to know why you insist on recording it and what you're doing with it, because you never want to tell the board that. You didn't want to give them to our attorney when our attorney asked for them. You originally, I understand why you did it originally. You were very clear about that. It was because we weren't doing it. We are doing it now. So what's the purpose other than it's your right? And even though you have been told by multiple attorneys and multiple cases presented to you when this issue first came before the board that said you don't have the right as a citizen because you're a board member. I don't understand your thinking. And that's why I'm questioning it, because I was asked by members of this board who are uncomfortable with it to question it.
I don't know how you're taking that scalpel and cutting that. It says all persons. I'm a person. You have to be a person to run for office. So it's not like a corporation. There is a difference, but under the law, I have that right. And if you think I'm going to revoke that right,
I didn't ask you to revoke that right. I asked you to
You're
tell it.
kidding.
I didn't ask you to revoke that right. I asked this board to consider setting some guidelines. And then once the guidelines are set, I'm going to insist that you follow them.
censure, right?
Correct. And if it were,
And if we, how many, like, okay, let's say for instance, if this person or people, persons, with an S,
Yeah.
chooses to do this, how many censors, what happens if they get so many censors? What will be the next recourse, I guess?
requesting that the governor remove them from office because they're not upholding their duty. And if it were a citizen sitting out there not complying, I would have them removed. So if Johnny shows up and sets up, let's say we make the guideline handheld only, okay? And Johnny shows up with this big tripod and cabling and all of that, and we say, you know what, Mr. Johnny, that violates what, just like our guidelines for public comment, right? That violates our guidelines, and we're gonna have to ask you to take that down, right? At that point, if they don't, we do have the right to have a disruptive citizen removed from a board meeting. So I'm willing to bring the policy that we had drafted and then maybe let this board work on a policy. But again, it's about respecting one another and respecting the wishes of your fellow board members, which apparently you don't. You've made that clear that you don't. And doing better, right? Doing better. Is there any further discussion? It's work that needs to probably be done in the future. All right, moving on. Future workshop topics. As you can see, the list is long, which is probably why we need to go back to committee meetings based on, but we need to, yeah. Anyway, you can kind of see that. You don't need me to read that. I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion that the Board of well, first, are there any items we would like removed from the consent agenda? All right, hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented? So moved by Mr. Osowski, seconded by Mrs. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries. Action items, special consideration, non-consent agenda action items. I'm going to ask for a motion to table the HIV curriculum approval since we now know that we need to look at the lessons.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bailey to table. Is there support? Seconded by Mrs. Martin. We're going to table this. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. I don't think we need to roll call to table it. All in favor to table?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, it still carries, even if you said no. All right. We're back to board committees. Okay. Can I get a motion that the Board of Education may choose to reestablish specific board committee meetings contingent upon the will of the board and willingness, I'm going to add this, to follow best practices?
Motion. Me.
Mr. Bailey, is there support?
Support.
Seconded by Mrs. Martin. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
So under the memorandum that I saw in our notes or our packet, it said memorandum, it said, I thought, to the state board. Why would we be sending this to the state board?
I don't know what you saw, but we're not sending anything to the state board.
Did I misread it? Where did the memorandum come from?
Possibly. Oh, wait. Is it here in our packet?
Board of Education, okay, it's not state, all right.
Okay. Okay.
So, to the chair,
Mr. Bailey?
also in relation to this, you had mentioned in a previous meeting that committees of the whole are practiced by the school districts. There's 500 to 700 school districts in the state of Michigan. I sent an email that listed some of the other ones, Harper Woods, Rochester, that do have different committees established, both whole and specific ones. There was also a question about decided, or the statement was made is it was decided to go to the committee of the whole. There's no decision. It's Mr. Witt came up with, we're going to eliminate the board committees
Decided.
specifically.
So that was a decision, and therefore it was.
It was not a
It was
board
decided. It didn't have to be a
decision.
board decision. Didn't have to,
So-
because committees are advisory and appointed by the superintendent and the board president. It didn't need to have.
That's not what the bylaws say.
The bylaws say that committees are appointed by the president. I read
Which
it.
is a school board person. It's not a superintendent. There is a difference between superintendent and school board. That is why we are a flaccid school board.
I don't think I was president. I don't remember. Whether or not he made that decision in a vacuum, at the time, nobody on the board objected to it.
Yes, I did, and I told you specifically, and you went along with it. You said they were administrative committees.
They are.
They were board committees. You go back in the minutes, it went on for years.
Okay, the point is, it was decided by whomever that we would not do advisory committees because you, Mr. Bailey, chose to put this district at risk by showing up. Not only showing up, you went door to door putting flyers in people's mailboxes, which is a federal offense, by the way. It's mail tampering. And created a huge ruckus at a committee meeting when we were hearing our options for the Bowman project. That is why we did it, because we don't want the appearance of a quorum. Even if the fourth member claims they are not making decisions, the gathering has now the legal capacity to act as a full board, making it a meeting that requires strict adherence to public transparency laws. Right here, out of the Open Meetings Act, buddy. So I'll go toe-to-toe with you. It was decided, that's the end of the story. We can decide to undo that. That's why this is on the meeting, on the agenda tonight. We can make a decision to undo that.
We can't undo the past, we just gotta move forward.
Correct. It was to protect the district.
I know, yeah, that's why I said it loud.
Is there any further discussion? All right, this requires a roll call vote. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean? No. Mrs. Johnson?
No.
Mrs. Martin?
Unfortunately, it hardens me for real to have to vote no on this, because I do think that committees are necessary. And due to how, our board responded upon the question, I have to vote no.
Thank you. Mr. Osowski?
No.
Chair votes no. Motion fails. 5-1. We will continue to work as a committee of the whole. And
It hurts.
let's have some discussion in the near future about just a couple of people bringing some things to the board with regards to onboarding. Like, without a committee meeting, just, somebody who's, like Mr. Bailey shared the link, and I appreciate that. Because we do need to move forward with that. There were no items removed from the consent agenda. Call to the audience, public participation regarding non-agenda items. Anybody got little blue papers?
What was the last one? Which one?
Non-agenda items. There are none. All right. Interim superintendent's remarks.
I have nothing at this time.
All right. Board of Education, Communication, and Discussion. Down the table, Mr. Osowski? Mrs. Johnson.
Welcome back, and I hope everyone enjoyed their break. And if you went out of town, I'm glad you made it back and have not been stranded. And if anyone is stranded, I hope they get home soon. I know a previous coworker was stuck in Cabo for a couple of extra days, which is nice, but it's stressful because it was not planned.
heck
So
yeah. Yeah.
I'm happy everyone, had that time because, like we said before, we are in the home stretch, and as a previous educator, I know that this time of the year is very difficult, and it feels like you're in school for 100 years at the end of the year. So I hope everyone is well rested and ready to go.
Thank you. I will reiterate that the Beach and Hilbert Elementary, Friends of Beach and Hilbert Elementary fundraiser is this week, Thursday. I believe it is $20. Is it? It's $20, yeah. I know I've had the opportunity to attend it. There's some, get there early if you want snacks though, because the food like Betsy McCrae and her sisters work their tuchuses off to pull this off. I mean, like they do all of the finger food and all of that. They set up all of the silent auction. There's usually some pretty cool stuff at the silent auction. Support our libraries and Mrs. Nachman.
Yes, I apologize. I do have something that I wanted to update the board on. If you will recall, back in December, when we went back and forth with the 31AA grant for mental health, we went in, if you'll recall, we accepted it while it was going through their court findings, and then we went in on December 29th at 10:49 a.m. and rescinded that to not accept the money. If you will recall, I think 2 board meetings ago, Mr. Bailey brought it to your attention that he had attended an MASB session where they had noted that districts who had gone in to rescind, the submission did not go through, and they were bound to take the money. Unfortunately, or it was considered that you accepted it. Unfortunately, Redford Union was one of those districts. We did, when Kim and I found out, we did contact the state, to which they said, well, you didn't hit submit, to which we said we did, and they said, well, we can see you went in, and we can see where you declined it, but the submission didn't go through, so basically you accepted it. So then we spoke with someone else from the state who said, yes, this is happening in multiple districts. There's nothing they can really do about it. They're saying it's not their fault that it wasn't their system, but they said several districts they went through and the submit just kept circling and circling and it didn't go through. For others like us, it went through and then your screen went blank and it didn't go through. So unfortunately, we are not taking the money, even though we didn't officially rescind it. We did sign off to not take the money because we don't want to give the appearance of taking the money and if something were to happen. Now, since that time, it appears that they have removed the language regarding giving up a client attorney privilege. They didn't remove the rest of it about there would still be a full investigation, which of course, in the circumstance of a mass casualty, you would want a full investigation. The biggest holdup was the attorney-client privilege. It does look like that has been removed. However, this money, we will have the opportunity to opt out again come December, so we'll have to make another decision about that. Basically, they said there's really not much we can do. They said in most cases, when you submit through this system, you'll get a response from the email that says it's been submitted. But they said because of all the back and forth and so many districts, about, 600 people going in at the same time, the system couldn't keep up with it, so they weren't able to auto-generate those emails. So although it wasn't their fault, they also weren't able to tell us that it didn't go through. And they did acknowledge, you know, the GEMS Mars people where you submit it, they did nothing wrong, everything worked great, but the state of Michigan said basically to us, everything did not work great. So, you know, a lot of things are coming out. There was a report that Oakland County, 50% of Oakland County schools accepted the funds, and then many Oakland County schools were like, well, wait, we didn't accept the funds. So it looked like it was great press, like, look, these districts really care about their kids, but then those Oakland schools found out by default they had accepted the funds. So we did fall into that. I did talk to Evelyn about it when I found out, but I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that. But it does appear that the attorney-client privilege, the state has agreed to take that language out. I don't know that that has been finalized, but that was the draft that we received a couple weeks ago.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Bailey?
so where does it stand right now? Are we committed to the position that we go with the state, or we're protecting the client privilege?
Right now, we haven't taken any funds. We got two,
That's not-
right.
You were given the funds, they're saying it went through, so are we
Well,
committed to
no,
that?
we signed something saying we weren't taking the funds. We had to sign it. They sent me something signing off that although you accepted the funds on our site because you didn't rescind it, but you're not accepting payment. So we have declined payment. We have not been paid. Therefore, you know, at least we could get our attorneys involved at that point to say we have not accepted these funds, we have not funded positions through this. Who knows what'll happen, but it looks worse if we accept the money and then say we're not bound by this legislation. But again, I think the attorney-client piece has been removed, which was the holdup. So when we come back to visit this again in December, you might decide to tell who's ever in the seat, you know, to accept the funds, because that client attorney privilege piece is no longer in there. And then we can look to support our students through the use of that grant. But until we knew what would happen, we have not accepted the funds.
So I'm not addressing that. I'm addressing the fact that we've seen enough examples through history where there's a lot of educated people involved in this. Now, we could say that, oh, it was a mistake, or suddenly all these people became stupid and the computer system didn't work, but it did accept submit, but not, we didn't notify that it wasn't submitted, all this other stuff. I keep in the back of my mind that this just may not be an accident sort of thing.
Right, but I don't know how I am to address that. I think as a group of districts, I believe, and I'll find out more as I attend more meetings, but I believe that there will be some sort of action taken on behalf of the districts in the state of Michigan who feel like they were kind of bamboozled into taking this money.
Yeah.
You know, not, because I would never have come to the board and said, I rescinded the funds on this date had I not done it, had Kim not sent me the screenshot of doing it, just to find out it didn't happen, along with several other districts. And so, I mean, I don't know what our recourse is with the state. I can tell you that little Redford Union fighting it on its own probably won't get anywhere because they weren't real remorseful on the phone when Kim and I were speaking with them. But I don't know, and I will ask at our next superintendent's meeting if there are any plans to take any action as a group of districts across the state. And I can also speak with our attorneys to see what they've heard about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Board of Education. I was asked by Mrs. Warren, if you plan on attending the MASB Awards Dinner, which is coming up, please let her know by tomorrow, because we need to make her life easier and she needs to submit payment for us. I'm sorry, what's the question? It is at Wayne Wesleyan? I think, I don't remember. It's not far. I don't remember off the top. I think it's Wayne Wesleyan.
And what day is it?
Give me a moment and I will tell you. Hold on. Let me get into my board email here so I can tell you, because I have it from Mike.
Thursday, April 30th,
Thank you.
at William D. Ford Career Technical Center.
Yeah. Thank you. See, that's why we have Jackie.
And I need to register you by April 10th if you are going.
So, yeah. So y'all need to tell her like tomorrow. And I think I said this last month, but I'll say it again. So I did last month reach out to Mrs. Nachman and Mrs. Crenshaw as the board president. In the past, I'm going to say, the board president and with past superintendents would meet every other month or so and just kind of touch base, right? And that's how I knew about the whole fiasco with rescinding. But I did express to her that I felt like it was